Hello there and welcome back. In this video, we are going to take a look at the journey from a Rust project that has been created for a hosted environment and all the necessary steps we have to take to be able to compile this code for a non-hosted environment such as the STM32 microcontrollers. So remember I told you that in a non-hosted environment, the STD create is not available. That is, the standard library is not available to you. So all the data types and the memory allocator is not available to you. Instead, what is available to you is known as the core create. And the core create in Rust is just the language's fundamental data types: integers, floats, booleans, arrays, and all the basic data types, without the ones that are dynamically allocated like strings and vectors and box and all that. Okay, so how do we tell Cargo that in this project we do not want to include the standard library? All right, what's gonna happen is we do this. We need an attribute that applies to the entire crate. Okay, you know that you use the pound or the hash character to introduce attributes in your Rust code, and attributes are sort of suggestions, not directives. Suggestions, if I say suggestions, it means they can be ignored. No, directives to the Rust compiler or Cargo in doing its work. So here we say no-std. This is it. And then the moment we introduce this no-std, this code here is not gonna compile. Okay, so let me do this and I'll just do cargo build. And you see that it is not working. And the reason is it says cannot find the macro println in this scope. The moment you include this attribute no-std, what we are telling Cargo is that do not include the standard library. And remember from the previous video, I mentioned that the standard library is it's a library of code that depends on certain functionalities in the operating system to get its work done. You just come to think about it. How is it that the same println macro works on Windows, Mac, and Linux or any other operating system? The reason is this println macro actually defers the actual work of printing to the screen to some utilities that are available in the operating system. And so if there is no standard library included, then println is not available and we cannot use it. So that is one. There is another error. It says panic handler function required but not found. Unwinding panics are not supported without STD. All right, so what it is saying about a panic handler is, every program can panic. For example, if you read outside the bounds of an array, it can panic. Depending on whether you are in development mode or you are building for release mode, things like integer overflow and stuff can also panic. And also when you actually use a panic macro, you can cause a panic. A panic brings the program to a halt. Now, in standard or hosted programs, there is a default function known as the panic handler that is included in the standard library for you, and it takes care of what happens when your application panics. Okay, but in a no-std, it is entirely on you, the developer, to provide what is known as a panic handler. And in development mode, what you can do is maybe you implement the panic handler and then you just let it log some information. In release mode, in your firmware, what you can do in your panic handler is you can let it depend on some watchdog and then cause the application to restart. For example, if you have built a firmware that is running on a system that is left thousands of kilometers in some forest, you are not there to restart the system when it panics. So in that case, what you can do in your firmware is, in the panic handler, whenever a panic is detected, you can let it depend on what is known as a watchdog and then restart the firmware itself. These are all things that we are going to learn. So the first reason is we can't use println, and we know why. So we need to get rid of this guy. Now let's try to compile this again. I know it's not gonna work. Okay, so this time let's compile it for the STM32, and it says panic handler function required but not found. So here we need to provide a panic handler. I'm going to spare you the search you have to do. Basically what you have to do is you need an attribute panic handler, and then you need a function panic handler. It takes an info of type. It's supposed to be a reference to what is known as panic info from the core panic library. And the signature of this function is such that it should never return. So it used the never return type, which is the exclamation sign here. Again, you already know Rust, so I don't have to spend so much time explaining this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to enter into an infinite loop, and then I'm going to try to compile again. And it says blah blah blah. If it's not okay, we are not using the panic info, so we can precede it with an underscore, and then that is going to silence that warning from the compiler. But still, this is not going to run, and I will explain why. I just want us to see the problems, and then we fix them one after the other. All right, so now it looks like it has stopped complaining about the panic handler. Ignore the red squiggly lines underneath it. This is just my editor not realizing something. Just ignore it. For now, the code is all right. The complaint is about using fn main requires the standard library. So you remember in the previous video I mentioned that the standard library depends on the operating system to prepare the runtime environment for your program, and it's only after it has finished preparing the runtime environment that the operating system passes on control to the main function. So you can see that this concept of a main function is required for hosted applications. In our case, we are not building a hosted application, so it kind of doesn't know what to do with this. But every application also needs to know where to start the execution from. Now, this is where the friendliness of the compiler comes in. It gives you help. It says use no main to bypass the Rust generated entry point and declare a platform specific entry point yourself, usually with no mangle. I'm going to explain that also. So what it means is we're going to come here and we are going to say no main. So you can see that gradually we are moving away from building for a hosted environment to building for a non-hosted environment, and we will get there. I know it's a process, but I have to slow down so that you will also understand this. Okay, so now it builds all right, and remember I built it for the STM32 target here. So it builds all right. What it means is it generated a firmware that we can actually flash onto a board. The sad news is that if we flash this, it is not going to do anything because there is the process, there is that deterministic process that the microcontroller also has to go through to be able to start executing the applications. Nonetheless, we have made good progress. Now you know how to move from a hosted application, and we are almost at the point where we are perfectly generating a binary that will work. Remember, it also spoke about some no mangle, right? I'm going to add the no mangle to the main function here. So we say no mangle. Of course, it's also going to tell us that we need to put it in an unsafe thingy, right? So what we can do is we can do unsafe, and inside the unsafe I think we can do a no mangle here. No, I think it has to be the attribute and the unsafe comes in. Yes, so this and we can do unsafe and then no mangle. Yes, this is what we got to do. And now I can clear and then I can build for the target. And you can see that this time around, it is compiling all right from head to toe without a single warning. And what this no mangle does, let me explain before I forget. Let me put a visual separator between these two. So in compiling your program, the compiler can sometimes rename some of the functions and variables and all that. The no mangle here is an instruction telling Cargo that for this specific function, remember that these attributes have the exclamation. That means it applies to the entire crate. But for the no mangle, it is only telling the Cargo tool that for this particular function that follows, in this case main, do not and absolutely do not rename it for any reason. The reason it is so is in subsequent videos we'll talk about how to go from resetting the microcontroller to getting your main function to be executed. And there we will talk about something known as the linker script. And in a linker script, we are able to set what is known as an entry point. That is where we are telling Cargo that this is the entry point of our firmware. So after it is done doing all its work, it will set main as the entry point. And in the linker script, we will specify the entry to be main. And so we need this no mangle to tell Cargo that absolutely do not touch the name of this function. Do not modify it in any way, because if it does, then the linker script is not going to work. So it is just to ensure that the name stays exactly what we gave it. But as you can see, now we have gone from having a program that was compiling for the native architecture to the point where now we have actually compiled it for the target board that we are interested in. So this is the firmware here, the STM firmware. If you check, you will see. Let me see. So let's say I'm just going to use the file command. There are better tools for doing this, but for now I'm just going to use the file command, and I'll go to debug and I'll say STM firmware, and file is not recognized, blah blah blah. Okay, this is Windows problem. I will show you better tools for inspecting the file. But as you can see, we now have a way of creating a normal Rust project and then using these attributes, providing the panic handler and the no mangle stuff to ensure that we can now compile it for a target other than the host computer on which the code is being written. Thank you very much for watching. I know it's been a mouthful. A lot of new concepts have been introduced here, especially if you haven't done bare metal before. So feel free to rewatch this video as many times as possible until you have a firm understanding. Then you can make it onto the next. I will see you